What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today I'm solo for the sports rundown of the week. Today is Saturday, already in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Men's side, women's side got off to a very strong start too. We're seeing some pretty big movement going on in the NCAA tournament. And I'm telling you, man, this has been something huge. We will see a lot of things happening, and we might see some number ones go down in this tournament. But even with that all said, I'm going to start in the NFL with this sports rundown. First thing on the docket, Justin Fields traded from the New York Jets to the Kansas City Chiefs. This could be the next Sam Darnold. This could be the next Baker Mayfield. This could also be the next Carson Wentz. But with that being said, he's gone to a very good place. He's gone to a very good quarterback developer when you think about Andy Reid and his history of developing similar quarterbacks to himself. When you think about Donovan McNabb, you think about Michael Vick, even to some extent his proteges were ones that developed Jalen Hurts. So with that, Justin Fields is probably for the first time going somewhere where they will actually focus on his development as a quarterback, and he can possibly become something very special. Justin Fields does have tools that could make him special. He does have a strong arm to throw the ball. It's just that he doesn't read the field that well. And I think that if he's in the room with Andy Reid and his ability to develop quarterbacks, especially when you're talking about a guy like Michael Vick, who wasn't known as a real passer until he got to Philadelphia. And Michael Vick, he sat up there and said he praises Andy Reid for helping him with that because he wasn't even watching film properly. So I can imagine that that might be the case with Justin Fields as well. If I was Anthony Richardson, I would see if there's some way that I can get myself to a quarterback developer. Shane Steichen is not the guy. He doesn't develop anybody. And we've seen that currently at this point. And I don't think he even wants the task of developing a quarterback. And understand, he has Leonard Riley on the team. He's had a lot of guys that have been backups that have come through Indianapolis, and he's not developed not a single one. So with that, I'm telling y'all, Justin Fields could be the next guy that could come into play. Now, he did make this comment, which I did find pretty strange. Justin Fields said he hopes to compete for a starting position. And I was like, slow down. Clearly the NFL was busting your ass, okay? You ain't about to compete for no starting job in Kansas City. What you are in Kansas City right now is a seat warmer. What you need to do is be appreciative that Andy Reid is about to sit up there and make you a possible star quarterback. So don't talk yourself out of an opportunity right now. Sit your butt down and be okay. In fact, what you should do is understand, you should go look at Men in Black and think about how Agent K was dealing with Agent J. And how, he when he gave him the little bitty gun and he handed it to him and he said, what am I going to do with this? And he pointed the little gun. He's like, oh, whoa, wait a minute now. That thing got some kick to it. So understand, Justin Fields, you need to calm yourself. Be appreciative and understand where you might go at. If you do the things you need to do and you pay attention, you might be successful in Kansas City. So with that, Justin Fields to Kansas City, that's on the docket. Next thing on the docket, the Browns propose a rule change that would probably destroy them more than they think. The Browns rule change that they're proposing is the ability to trade draft picks for up to 5 years in the future. Now, the NBA has this, and this doesn't work that well in the NBA. And I think that even when you think about teams like the Washington Commanders, who years ago traded away a buttload of first-round picks and a buttload of, I think they were second-round or third-rounders or something like that, it took them a while to recover from that. And that was just to move up to take a player in RG3 who ended up getting injured and was never the same. So when you think about like what happened in that type of situation, you're talking about the fact that Washington gave up all those first round picks and all they got out of Robert Griffin III was one season. One season. So for every pick that they gave up, it was not worth it when you got only that one season. So when you're thinking about future draft picks that's so far out, you can end up ruining your team if by chance an injury happens or something doesn't work out and things like that. You're talking about now you have to wait until 5 years later to sit up there and have to deal with that. So like, let's just start from now. It's 2026 now. Imagine not being able to draft a player until 2031. Do you really want that? Especially when you talk about something like the first round. And this just says future picks. It doesn't say future first round picks. It just say future picks. So imagine not having a second round pick until 2031 or a third round pick until 2031. Like, the fact that the Browns proposed that is crazy to me, especially when they did so well last year in their draft. When you think about Shedeur Sanders, Harold Fanning, and oh my God, and Chase Schlesinger, Carson Schlesinger. They did pretty fantastic in the draft last year, so they probably shouldn't be the ones proposing this type of thing, because now if it was the Rams, you could probably understand in the Rams saying this, but the Browns, no, they should not propose this, and this should not be something that should be considered when it comes to the NFL. This is a bad thing for the NFL. Like I said, they do it in the NBA. It's a disaster in the NBA for real, because there's a lot of times you sitting up there and these teams are trying to protect draft picks and they're losing on purpose because they're trying to protect like for the Wizards. It's like there's top 8 protected. You can't do that. Like, this is a bad proposal, and I don't think it's going to work, and I think it's a disaster if the NBA was to in fact implement it. So for that, it's a no for me. 5 years and future 5 years to be able to trade away 5 years of future picks, crazy. Next, and the last thing in the NBA, Max Crosby has came out and he's really shown his angry man side. Max Crosby announced that he's livid. He's absolutely livid at the Baltimore Ravens because they were so unprofessional. I just can't understand the amount of completely and unequivocal disrespect that they've shown me. I don't know what to do. I am just so furiously mad at the fact that they sat up there and they did this. I just don't understand. Max Crosby really did his thing, especially using the word livid. But Max Crosby is upset at the fact that the trade did not go through. But he should understand with the fact that every team's medical group feels things differently. Until Max Crosby goes out there and shows that he's able to play, especially after this injury, then all teams are going to avoid him as much as possible. This is not a situation where, it was like an ankle injury or something like that, something that they know for a fact would be able to work. But you're talking about a meniscus tear and what sounds like a complete repair. That is a tough thing to deal with when you think about stuff like that. And what's going to happen with him in the future? Will he have the bend around the corner that they really want? Will he be as impactful? Another thing is, like, what happens with him injuring one side? Does he injure the other side because of the overcompensation for what's going to happen or what could happen and things like that? So with that, I'm telling you, man, this is not an easy thing to deal with. I can understand Max Crosby being livid, but at the end of the day, you got to accept for what it is. Injury is injury, and a lot of teams are not going to risk, especially when you talk about first-round picks. Like, they're not going to risk first-round picks, especially if you're talking about the best you get out of a guy is a guy who's actually worth maybe a third or fourth rounder. So especially if he doesn't heal properly from the injury, or he doesn't come back as a full player or with full intensity as a player. And then on top of that, does he end up being forced to go into retirement because he just can't do it anymore? So with that, I can't get mad about it, but the fact that Max Crosby is livid, it's funny, but he needs to get over it. Next, I'm going to go to the NBA. I was hoping Jeremiah would be here for this one, but it was announced that Dale Curry's jersey was retired in Charlotte for the Hornets. And rightfully so. He was a guy that was there from the very onset of the Hornets. But the thing that surprised me with his jersey retirement was that when they announced that he was only the second player whose jersey was retired, well, my mind immediately went to, it has to be Larry Johnson, or it has to be Alonzo Mourning, maybe Muggsy Bogues, maybe even David West. And then they said it was Bobby Fields. Now, for y'all who don't remember Bobby Fields was a very good player, but died in a car crash when him and was it David West? I can't remember the point guard's name, but they were racing down the street and he ends up getting killed in a car crash from them two racing down the street, and I think they were in Porsches or whatever. And Bobby Fields, his jersey was retired at that point. But the fact that they said Daryl Curry was the only other guy whose jersey was retired is absolutely amazing to me, especially when you're talking about how long Alonzo Mourning has been retired, how long Muggsy Bogues has been retired, how long Larry Johnson has been retired, how long David West has been retired. So the fact that none of those guys' jerseys are retired, hell, even Kendall Gill to some extent, the fact that none of those guys' jerseys are retired is absolutely amazing to me, because, I mean, these were guys that were very impactful for Charlotte. I remember, I think Larry Johnson Larry Johnson, I think, was their second, I think it was their second year of existence that they drafted Larry Johnson. He was their ultra mega star at that time. I remember them and the Converse commercials and the Grandmama and all that. Like, Larry Johnson was a big deal for Charlotte. I mean, if more people forget this, the reason people were watching Charlotte games was because of Larry Johnson. He was just that devastating and that good. So the fact that his jersey is not retired is crazy to me. Not only that, the fact that Dale Curry's jersey gets retired before him is insane. Then Alonzo Mourning, we're talking about, this is one of the best centers to ever grace the NBA. And this, again, Alonzo Mourning was, again, another big piece to that Charlotte team. Because if I can remember, I think in their first year, where it was Mourning and Larry Johnson, they ended up playing the Bulls in the playoffs. And they ended up losing to Jordan in the playoffs that year. But, I mean, again, the fact that Alonzo Mourning, another staple piece to their franchise, the fact that he's not in it. David West is another guy that, after Larry Johnson, after Alonzo Mourning, the Hornets was in this down period for a very long time, and they were I think it's David West. David West was the guy who sat up there and for a long time was the one who basically carried the franchise on his back. He was a guy that really carried that Hornets franchise on his back for a very long time. Very consistent player, played very well for a really long time with them. And again, the fact that his jersey isn't retired from there, so it's quite the shock. And I said Kendall Gill. Kendall Gill, I think, was part of that. I think he was one of the first players that was chosen when they had the when they bring the new franchise in, and I think he was one of the first players taken in that. I forget what they call these stupid drafts. It's like when the new franchise come in, they pick players from teams and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I remember Kendall Gill was one of those guys. He was a 3-point shooter. Tim Legler, Rex Chapman. Rex Chapman was another one, 3-point guy, 3-point specialist guy, and he was there for a long time. So it's pretty amazing to me how Dell Curry is the second guy to get his jersey retired, but the guys who were like legitimate superstars for that franchise, the fact that none of them got their jerseys retired, it's pretty crazy to me. So with that, congratulations to Dell Curry. But a big thumbs down to the Charlotte Hornets franchise, who has not sat up there and made it a point of retiring the numbers or the jerseys, You don't have to necessarily retire the numbers, but you can actually put them in the rafters like Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Rex Chapman, Kendall Gill, David West, and the point guard that was in the car crash with Bobby Fields, it was David Wesley. So just to put that out there. But yeah, but that's pretty much it, y'all. That's the short end of it. Like I said, the NCAA tournament is going on. They're now in the second round of the whole thing. So I will keep y'all updated on this sports rundown. But other than that, y'all, this has been the end of the sports rundown. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Y'all may agree with some of the things that I said. Y'all may not agree with some of the things I said. Let me know down in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune. And this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.